Hi, I'm Don Spillane. I'm the author of Hustling the Mob. I was a police officer and detective in London during the 1960s and 1970s. Scotland Yard is known worldwide, but it's really the headquarters of the Metropolitan Police in London. And the Metropolitan Police is comprised of divisions. And I was stationed on one of those divisions, H Division, Bethnal Green. Now, this wasn't the gentrified area that it is today. This was the working class slums of the poor, cobbled streets. It was more like the area that Jack the Ripper had stalked his victims about 100 years previously. I was a uniformed police officer for a while, and then I became a detective, a junior detective. But some of the senior detectives I worked with had been on the Great Train Robbery, the Mayfair bank job, and the Iranian hostage situation at the embassy. Murders, armed robberies, lorry or truck hijacking, drugs, and general criminal activity. Bethnal Green was home to the Cray twins. They lived on Valence Road. Now, they were notorious gangsters and ran the East End, much as the Nash brothers ran the North London and the Richardsons ran South London. It seems that brothers formed crime families, and the Cray twins were notorious for extortion, protection, and in fact, murder. The Carpenter's Arms is a pub on Cheshire Street in Bethnal Green, and the Cray twins had purchased this pub for their mother, Violet. The Crays were well out of the picture when I started frequenting this particular pub, the Carpenter's Arms. There was a bullet hole in a window there that legend says came about because Ginger Marks, another well-known gangster, had been killed outside the Carpenter's Arms. But it's a legend. Ginger Marks' body never turned up. It's allegedly propping up the Bow flyover, but who really knows? Now, in those days, pubs had to close. Last orders were at 11 o'clock on a weekend. Then there was 10 minutes to drink up and leave the pub. Let me add that drinking on duty for detectives was encouraged because that's where the villains were. Sometimes the landlord would allow a few patrons to stay on for drinks after hours, a practice called afters. It was legal as long as no money was changing hands. Unfortunately, money was changing hands most of the time. My colleague and myself were in the Carpenter's Arms. It was after hours, and there were about 7 or 8 other patrons, and we were all drinking. Money was changing hands, so that it was illegal. All of a sudden, the door burst open, and 3 or 4 uniformed constables fell through the door onto the floor. They were picking themselves up. The former inspector stepped over them and announced that it was a raid and that he needed everyone's names and addresses to report them for after-hours drinking. The bar went quiet. All the other patrons just looked at us. Nobody said a word. Then the uniform inspector saw us, came up, told us he was going to report us to our boss for after-hours drinking. He left the pub without reporting anybody else. The next morning, we were called up. We explained we were meeting an informant, and the matter was dropped. Now, apart from my tales of police work, the other part of this is the author, what I did about writing. You can see my book called Hustling the Mob, and it's based on some true episodes that happened to me during my lifetime. I'm currently writing a sequel, or actually a prequel. Now, what was gratifying about writing the book is other people seem to appreciate it. If you look on Amazon, you'll see that I've got mostly 5-star reviews. So I'm going to extend to you an invitation to come to donspillane.com. There you'll be able to see videos talking about the characters and the plot. You'll be able to read some of the reviews. You'll be able to contact me and be able to find a little more about me. You'll also be able to buy the book from Amazon.
What's the difference between robbing a bank and robbing a mafia bank? Sarah and Joshua are about to find out. One is a world-class hacker, the other a master safecracker. Together, they make a killing in this international crime thriller by former Scotland Yard detective Don Spillane. Hustling the Mob. On Kindle and paperback from Amazon. Find out more on donspillane.com.